Some people argue that. What do we know right now? Opinion of others, right? Hopefully we just start spotting this as soon as we read it. We're like, okay, some people argue that capital punishment for theft was an essential part of the labor discipline of British capitalism. I hope that as you read these arguments, you engage with them. It's good to really think about what's being said, not just be a drone or a machine or whatever. Were we shocked when we read this? I mean, maybe if you studied history, you wouldn't be shocked, but I was a little surprised. I had forgotten that capital punishment was an essential part of the labor discipline of British capitalism for theft. Right? You steal something, dead. Did anyone react to that? Wait, no one cared? You're just like, yeah. I hope you think about this a little bit, because we have to agree or disagree with these people. Remember, our job is to agree or disagree, and to agree or disagree, you have to understand what's being said. Okay, so they thought it was an essential part. Maybe it was essential. Maybe if people weren't killed, they would have kept persisting in their thievery. Critics of such a view argue that more people were executed for theft in pre-industrial England than were executed in England after industrialization. Okay, so more people were executed before than during industrialization. Does that matter? Does that change whether or not it was essential? It went down, but it still could have been necessary, right? Now I'm playing the other side. I'm like, who cares that they were killed? It was still necessary. That's what we have to do. It doesn't matter who's arguing. You always take the other side. Unless you have to agree with them. If you're compelled to agree with them, then you agree with them and you say, okay, let's go on to the question. So far we had opinion of others, then we had people who disagree, and I don't like what they said. I don't like what the first people said, and I don't like what the second people said. But such a criticism overlooks the fact that industrialization and capitalism are two very different social phenomena, and that the latter predated the former by several centuries. Oh, okay. We just had the author start speaking, and the author went ahead and criticized who? The critics, the second people, right? Does that mean that the author agrees with the first people? Not necessarily. Have you ever disagreed with Trump, but not necessarily agreed with his opponents? That might happen someday. Okay, which one following accurately describes the role played in the argument in the passage, or played in the passage by the point that capitalism and industrialization are distinct? This is where the author started talking, right? So we had opinion of others, and then what did the author jump into? Conclusion, premise, David?
Conclusion because the second critics are wrong.
Okay, so this is interesting. It says, such a criticism overlooks the fact, right? I think the conclusion is actually implied. The criticism is not good. Here's why. So the author just jumped into the evidence. One clue for that, there's one word in this last sentence that suggests that this sentence has two premises. Does anyone know what word that is? And. When and comes in between two independent clauses, it's very likely that both of those independent clauses are premises. Because what the and says is that both of these ideas are on the same playing field or on the same level, and therefore they're being used together to support something else. Okay, so I'm going to go into these answers looking for a premise. A, it is cited as some evidence, so far so good, against the claim that capital punishment for theft was an essential part. Was it evidence against the first claim or against the second? It was against the second, so answer choice A is wrong because it's saying it's against the first. B, it is cited as a direct contradiction of the claim that capital punishment for theft was an essential part of the labor It's being used as evidence against the first. That's exactly what answer choice A just said, so this is wrong as well. C, it is an attempt to conclusively prove the claim that capital punishment for theft was an essential part. Was it being used to prove definitively that the first claim is true? No, it's just being used to show that the second claim is false, or at least not necessarily true. So C is out. D, it is cited as a fact supporting the critics of the view that capital punishment for theft was an essential part. Was it being used to support the first people? No, it was just being used against the second people. We have to be very clear about what's going on here, right? All these answers are wrong. E is an attempt to undermine the criticism cited against the claim that capital punishment for theft was an essential part, blah, blah, blah. Yes, it was used as evidence against the claim that was against the first claim. In other words, it's used as evidence against the second claim. You guys okay with that? Am I talking too fast or too slow? Or just right? No one said anything, so I guess I'll just keep going at this pace. All right, so E is the right answer. Are we okay with that? All right.